Hello, 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 it's Sydney Rose, and today I'm taking you all with me to visit Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. So this is part 3 in my video series about my trip to visit McKenna in Colorado. Last week's video was about us getting lost in Meow Wolf's Convergence Station. This week I'm taking you guys with us on our day trip to Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. It was about an hour and a half drive, so Mac, her husband, Marcus, her little one, and me left pretty early in the morning. A good bit of this video is really just me filming the scenery from the car and our walk through the Red Rocks. Colorado is such a beautiful state and the camera really doesn't do it justice. Now for those of you that have never heard of Garden of the Gods, you'd be just like me because I hadn't heard of the park before making plans to visit Mac. I'm honestly shocked it's not a more well-known national park, or maybe it is and I just live under a rock, full pun intended. But in 1909, Garden of the Gods Park was deeded to the city of Colorado Springs under the condition that this one-of-a-kind place remain, quote, forever free, end quote, to the public. The public-private partnership between the City of Colorado Springs Parks, Recreation and Cultural Services Department, Garden of the Gods Visitor and Nature Center, and Garden of the Gods Foundation help protect and preserve this natural national landscape for future generations. It is a spectacular 1,341-acre public park renowned for its towering bright red sandstone rock formations against the backdrops of Pikes Peak. I love that it's free to visit and walk around so everyone can enjoy the park's beauty. There are tours that you can pay for, but it's not necessary to enjoy the park. I thought for this video I would share some of my research about the park while you watch my footage taken from my iPhone of the landscape and B-roll of the road trip and Garden of the Gods. You know your girl loves a good B-roll. And again, I honestly can't say it enough how much the camera does not do the landscape justice. So if you ever have the chance to visit, I really recommend it. All of my research is from the official Garden of the Gods website, and it will be linked in the description if you're interested in checking it out for yourself. Long before Garden of the Gods was a park, geological features began to form. It all begins with the, and I could be pronouncing this very wrong, trust me, the Pelostone Ice Age? Yeah, maybe, which resulted in the erosion of the Galatian rock and creation of present rock formations. These geological features of the park are highly visible sedimentary rock formations. The rocks were created as ancient mountains eroded and were buried in their own sediments. Massive sand dunes moved across the land, and shallow seas and deeper ocean eroded and retracted. Each environment left behind gravel, sand, and ocean deposits that formed horizontal layers over millions of years. The multiple formations were then uplifted and slowly brought to the surface, creating the mountains. Rock formations and the different types of rocks were always one of my favorite things to learn about in science in elementary school, and it's so fascinating to be able to see the scientific history in real life. The remaining rocks are stood up, pushed around, and slanted. Quote, balanced rock, end quote, at the south end of Garden of the Gods was formed as erosive processes moved the softer layers near its base. Over time, this left the outcrop seen today. In August of 1859, two surveyors started out from Denver City to begin a town site, soon to be called Colorado City. While exploring nearby locations, they came upon an area of sandstone formations. Surveyor M.S. Beach suggested that it would be a, quote, capital place for a beer garden, end quote. The second surveyor, Rufus Cable, expressed, quote, beer garden, why, it is a fit place for the gods to assemble. We will call it Garden of the Gods, end quote. And so the name Garden of the Gods was born. By the 1870s, the railroads had made their way west. Specifically, in 1871, General William Jackson Palmer founded Colorado Springs. Later, in 1879, General Palmer urged his friends, Charles Eliot Perkins, the head of, quote, the Q, end quote, railroad, to establish a home in the Garden of the Gods and to build his railroad out to Colorado Springs. Although, however, the railroad never reached Colorado Springs, Perkins did purchase a little over 200 acres in Garden of the Gods for his summer home. Perkins passed away in 1907 before he made arrangements for the land to become a public park. Even though it had already been open to the public for years, it was ultimately his children's decision. In 1909, Perkins' children, knowing their father's feelings for a Garden of the Gods, conveyed hundreds of his acres to the city of Colorado Springs. From that point forward, it would forever be known as Garden of the Gods, quote, where it shall remain free to the public, where no intoxicating liquor shall be manufactured, sold, or dispensed, where no building or structure shall be erected except for those necessary to properly care for, protect, and maintain the area as a public park, end quote. Towards the end of the drive there, we stopped for breakfast at a bakery in Colorado Springs called Provision. I got a chocolate croissant and this Colorado-made peach apricot juice. Both were amazing. The staff was super sweet, and I would love to go back again whenever I visit Mac again in Colorado. Got a chocolate croissant, and I got this stuff because it said it was Colorado made, and I was like, this looks interesting. After breakfast, we headed towards the Visitor Center for Garden of the Gods to check out some of their exhibits and, obviously, the gift shop. Over the years, I have accepted that I am, in fact, a t-shirt hoarder, and I love, 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 love touristy t-shirts. I ended up getting 2 t-shirts and some postcards. I've also decided that I want to be a postcard girly and send postcards from my side quests/adventures to my friends, and Garden of the Gods postcards were a really great place to start because they were stunning and definitely taken with a better camera than the iPhone 14. Walking through the exhibits at the Visitor Center, we were able to explore the different flora and fauna that had been found throughout the park currently and millions of years ago. Directly quoting friends of the gardenofthegods.org, Garden of the Gods has been many things. A tropical haven, an inland sea, a field of sand dunes, and even a vast swampy floodplain. Dinosaurs once grazed on ferns and tropical plants. Sea serpents swam in shallow waters, and mammoths trudged through deep snow in May. The rocks reveal secrets of ancient environments to those who know their language. A billion years ago, molten rock cooled to create Pikes Peak granite and the ancestral Rockies. Approximately 310 to 270 million years ago, the ancestral Rockies were worn down bit by bit. About 250 million years ago, Garden of the Gods had sandy beaches and an inland sea. The 300-foot orange sandstone rocks in the Garden of the Gods were once sand dunes. They may have looked similar to those at the Great Sand Dunes National Monument in southern Colorado. An inland sea once again covered Colorado about 225 million years ago. Around 155 million years ago, the Jurassic period, dinosaurs roamed in the Garden of the Gods. About 65 million years ago, there was an intense period of mountain building caused by the old Pacific Plate slamming into the North American Plate. As the Front Range Mountains rose, the overlying sedimentary rocks were bent upward. Over time, the softer rocks eroded and the valleys were created, leaving harder rocks standing as tall ridges in the park. Now, I want to go back to my research from the official Garden of the Gods website to talk about some of the current animals you can see in the park. For my bird watchers, some of the birds that are common and native to the park are the red-tailed hawk, prairie falcon, American kestrel, northern flicker, rock pigeon, broad-tailed hummingbird, and many more. Some animals you can see are the big-horned sheep, mule deer, and red foxes. We were actually lucky enough to see a mule deer surprisingly up close. That will come a bit later in the video, so now you have to keep watching so you don't miss that. And while you're at it, you should subscribe and turn on post notifications too. That would be really cool of you. Garden of the Gods is also home to several predators that are drawn to the park's deer and bighorn sheep populations. Most notably are the mountain lions, black bears, coyotes, bobcats, venomous prairie rattlesnakes, and various birds of prey like hawks and eagles. Mountain lions, also known as cougars, they are elusive but occasionally spotted and sometimes lounge in park trees. They are highly active during dawn and dusk, however. Black bears. While primarily roaming forested areas and higher elevations nearby Pikes Peak, they occasionally come into the park's boundaries. Coyotes are frequently seen in and around the park's denser terrain and open spaces. Bobcats. These smaller felines are present but highly secretive and rarely encountered by hikers. Prairie rattlesnakes. A healthy population live in the park. Encounters typically only happen during warm weather when they sun themselves on or near the trails. There were a lot of signs to stay on the trail to lessen the chance of an encounter with a rattlesnake. I do kind of wish we would have seen one, however, in a way. At the time we went to Garden of the Gods, the final season of Euphoria hadn't been out long, and I just thought it was very coincidental. If you know, you know, but I won't spoil it if you don't know. I also just like snakes. I think they're cool, but from a distance, kind of like spiders. I think they're cool, but I don't really want them near me. But in the case of going to like a science museum where you can have a snake encounter with a snake that isn't venomous, I'm so down to be the first volunteer. Before we got out to walk on one of the trails, we drove around the perimeter of Garden of the Gods. I was already in awe of the Colorado landscape on the drive to Garden of the Gods, but this was peak. The red rocks are so stunning, and I really don't have the perfect words to describe how beautiful they were. I think nature is just really cool, and I think it's crazy to think about how many different types of landscapes there are living in the United States of America. Like, I've lived in this country my entire life, but it almost felt like I was on a different planet, all while still being in the same country. And it was finally time to get out of the car and walk on one of the trails. We chose a paved path since we had McKenna's little one in the stroller. It was very nifty to get to be closer to the red rocks and see all of the plants and surroundings. I really wanted to take a rock from the ground, but that's not allowed at Garden of the Gods because they have a leave it how you left it policy, which is completely true, so I respected that even though my rock collector self wanted to take one anyway. I'm sure people do, but it's important to respect and protect nature as much as we can.
A cactus in the wild, in its natural habitat. Not from Walmart. South Carolina could never. Oh my god, we're so close.
It's a little one.
Hi.
It's so cute.
Hi.
Look, you see the deer, Bubba?
You know that means the mom's somewhere around and the jump
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, is that a deer?
Yeah, it's so cute. It's so good.
Seeing a mule deer so close was such a cool experience. I wasn't really expecting to see many animals at all because of how hot it was, so that made my entire day. This is also the perfect segue because I've already talked about the various animals that have habitated the Garden of the Gods over millions of years, but I haven't talked about the plants yet. At Garden of the Gods, the varied elevations create a biological melting pot where Great Plains grasslands meet mountain forest and southwest woodlands. Combinated plants include drought-tolerant buffalo grass, prickly pear cactus, I could be pronouncing this next one, or these next few wrong actually, yucca, pinyon pine, one-seed juniper, and gamble oak.
We did not see any rattlesnakes. Yet.
And a fun fact about one-seed juniper, some of them are nearly 1,000 years old.
The complete irony.
The prairie grasslands are made up of buffalo grass, yucca, and prickly pear cactus. The mountain shrublands consist of mountain mahogany, wild rose, and three-leaf sumac. There are also various wildflowers including bright yellow blooms like the golden crownbeard, aka the cowpin daisy, and the prairie cornflower that often carpet the park in late summer. Now, to again directly quote the Friends of GardenofTheGods.org, the plains are dominated by drought-tolerant grasses. The foothills have shrubs and shrubbery trees, and the middle elevation, the montane, exhibits increasingly thick forest and lush meadows. The two highest life zones, the subalpine and the alpine, are recognized by the stunted plant growth in alpine tundra. The changes are so dramatic that a trip from the grasslands of East Colorado Springs to the top of Pikes Peak show the ecological changes comparable to a trip from the Great Plains through the Canadian woods to the Arctic tundra. It's so crazy to realize how there's such a wide variety of geological elements in the Garden of the Gods. When we were done walking the trail, it was time to get back in the car and we headed towards the Garden of the Gods trading post. This was another gift shop, however, this one was a lot bigger than the gift shop in the visitor center. This shop reminded me a lot of the touristy gift shops at the bottom of the mountain in Chimney Rock, North Carolina. I unfortunately haven't been able to visit since the hurricane, and I know that the entire area suffered a lot of damage and they're still building it back up. I do hope to be able to go back soon to support the local business owners. Inside the trading post, they were selling fudge, and they had a deal where if you bought 4, you got 2 free, so we all got 2 pieces of fudge each. I got a raspberry cheesecake and an orange creamsicle fudge, and they did not disappoint.
These are so cute, little dogs.
I like this thing. This thing is fun. Cheddar popcorn.
After the trading post, it was time to make our way back into town to get a late lunch. Colorado Springs is such a cute town, and I love how much art and murals are incorporated into the city. We ate at a place called OOC Brewing. Inside the restaurant, they were selling art from local artists, and overall just had a really chill mountain vibe. I got a raspberry basil mule mocktail for my drink. We shared mini pretzels and queso for an appetizer, and for my entree, I got a buffalo chicken mac and cheese. All 3 were a 10 out of 10. I was worried the mac and cheese would be pretty spicy, but it wasn't really too bad. There was definitely a small kick to it though. I do want to point out that I did have a bit of a culture shock in this restaurant. If this is the first video of mine that you're watching, thank you for watching, and I'm glad to have you here. But you may not know that I'm from South Carolina. So if you didn't know, now you know. I knew that sweet tea wasn't a thing in Colorado, but I didn't realize that it was a semi-common practice to bring out pitchers of water with cups and no ice for the table. I've been lucky enough to travel to Europe twice in my life, and this is a common practice there, but I guess I just never expected to see it here. And don't get me wrong, this is not me complaining whatsoever. I like having water at the table so the server doesn't have to run around and get like 20 refills. I think it's a great practice. I just wanted to bring up the culture shock of somebody who lives in the southeast traveling to the Midwest. When we were done eating, I noticed that there were some stickers on a Transformer box outside, and I brought my stickers in case I saw something like this, so I was able to put some of my official "Hey, it's Sydney Rose" stickers on the box, and now my art is being memorialized on a random Transformer box in Colorado Springs. If you happen to be there and see my stickers, please post a picture and tag me. I'd love to see it. This is also about to be a shameless plug for my website. If you like my art, I sell prints on my website, www.heyitssydneyrose.com. It's always linked in the description and my link tree, so you should check it out. It helps me a lot and gets me closer to my dream of making a name for myself as a visual artist. After putting my stickers on the Transformer, it was time to make the about an hour-and-a-half trip back to Mac's apartment. We were all pretty beat at this point. I know we were all ready to get back to the apartment and settle in for the night. I was tempted to try to sleep on the way back, but that was quickly thwarted by being able to see the scenery on the other side of the road on our way back towards Denver. Colorado's geological history spans 2.7 billion years, defined by ancient collisions, vast inland seas, and a multitude of mountain building events. As our journey to Garden of the Gods comes to an end, it's hard not to be amazed by how beautiful this state really is. I could get blue in the face just talking about it. From the towering red rock formations to the breathtaking views surrounding Colorado Springs, and the perfect blend of city life and mountain scenery in Denver, everywhere you look really offered something unforgettable. If you're like me and you like exploring, you're chasing incredible landscapes, looking for an outdoor adventure, or just wanting to take in the scenery, Colorado has a way of leaving a lasting impression. If there's one thing this day trip showed me, it's again that the photos and the videos can only capture so much, and I know at this point you guys are like, oh my gosh, she's saying it again, but the experience is really hard to put into words. I've been typing and deleting so many sentences as I type this script I'm reading right now into my notes app, just trying to find the perfect way to describe the scenery. When we finally got back to the apartment, we took the rest of the night to relax, and we binge watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. At the time of recording this, I actually got a Disney Plus subscription a few days ago, so it's time to catch up on all of the Marvel movies I didn't get to go see in theaters, and all the Marvel shows I haven't seen since an ex was letting me use his Disney Plus account. Hey, we've all been there. But I have about 1.5 minutes left of footage in this video, so here are some updates. My mom, some friends, family, and myself have spent the last 2 weeks deep cleaning the house I just bought, and at the time of recording this, we are planning to start painting next week. So that means I'm just a bit closer to setting up my new art room and recording space for social media content. It's all a bit further behind schedule than I was expecting, but that's okay, and I'm just rolling with the punches. It won't be long until I'm getting on a flight to Nebraska to visit Jordan with Maddie and Sophie, and I'm so excited to be reunited with all of them. I haven't seen Jordan in over a year now, and I haven't seen Maddie and Sophie since January. Adult friendships really are planning hangouts months in advance because life gets so busy. Like, it's hard to believe that I was in Colorado a month ago now. I'm hoping to plan another trip to visit McKenna again sooner than later, but I'm so lucky to have so many friends in many different places, and I know it sounds really sappy, but I think it's cool to have so many people I love all over the world. Next week will be my last video in my Colorado series, and I'm going to be taking you guys with me to a Colorado movie theater where I watched the Amazing Digital Circus finale, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. I know the finale has been out for a while now, so the trend's kind of dead, but that's okay. But I guess that's the end of the video, everyone, so thank you so much for watching. And if you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe so you guys don't miss my next adventure, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye!